So Mothma's daughter shows up again. And did you notice anything? Small little things?
No.
I noticed a lot. Okay. and I wrote a bunch about this. I don't know if you want me to talk about it now, but I noticed a lot of themes with because we talked about parenting in one of the episodes. So I started noticing a lot of comparisons of different kinds of kids that have been shown throughout the series. And should I just talk about it? It's kind of
I'm curious. I mean, you had an entire theory on Cyril being gay because he said a word a certain way. So I can't wait how many paragraphs you've written about the entire scene.
Oh my god. Okay, can we just talk about the kids, okay? Like, please, okay, kids are important. They're our future. And they turn into guys, they either turn into guys like Cass or they turn into guys like Cyril. You know, so it's very important how they're parented. And the show has made it very obvious to show the differences, like how like, okay, so there's the Canary kids, right, that were shown first, where there's no parenting, no parents. So what are they? They're kids, but they're forced, they're emotionally and psychologically grown up. And then you contrast that with who? My boy Cyril, who's overbearing parent, too much parenting. And what happens? He becomes super closed off, and he's more like an adult who's like stuck in a state of adolescence. He's like always like a child, and he's thinking from like that naive morality all the time, you know? So that's one. Okay. Now the next is, what was the next one? Yeah. Okay. Now we have the upper class kids who's, we see Mon Mothma's daughter, and we have seen J-Hole's son. And both, they've been shown to be a little bratty. They've been shown to be defiant.
I would say J-Hole's son wasn't bratty.
Because they showed only one line with him where he's like, J-Hole's like, hey, so you're going to wear that. And he goes, I'm not wearing that. And he's like, you're going to wear what you're going to wear, because otherwise you're going to see the back of my hand. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll wear it, right?
Okay.
But you see him, he's rebellious, right, even to a guy like J-Hole.
Fine, I'll give you
and
that.
Even Mothma's daughter is like that towards her, right? But here's the difference. J-Hole asserts his dominance and his superiority towards everyone around him, even to his spouse. And Mothma is the opposite of that, where she doesn't have control over her daughter. And both of them don't have, so he's able to get not support, but he's able to scare his spouse into doing what he wants them to do in terms of parenting, where Mothma doesn't have a supportive spouse. And the daughter, Leda, I think her name is, she leans more towards parent. And the daughter, and you see the difference where the child seems a little more like, obviously J-Hole implies this, that he's a little more like wimpy, where he's like, he's always ill and he's always got like slouch shoulders. And the moment he rebels, and then the moment J-Hole says something, he goes like, okay, I'll do it. And on the other hand, Leda is always like, no, I'm not doing that. And she gets her way. And the 2 times we've seen her at the party where she meets Tay, she's always come to the party and been like, mother, can I just be excused? And she always like gets out of there. So she gets her way through that, where J-Hole's son had to be a part of that, even though he was super ill. And J-Hole's like, yo, even if it kills you, we're doing this. So I noticed both those things. You see? No, that was worth it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right on those. I think that's, like we were saying, there is a theme of parenting that's being set up over here. Mm-hmm. And as you're saying, what is the outcome of different backgrounds? Where I think in the end, we will find out. We still don't know exactly what Cassian went through, but he had probably the most different upbringing in terms of going from parentless to adopted parent to going to prison, and probably having authority be his parent for some time of his teenage years. So I totally agree.
We see him rebelling in his teenage years when he does walk through that alleyway where Clem is hung, which Marva always avoids. And also another quick small thing that I noticed in this was that Mothma both times, now this goes back to what you were saying, is that Mothma both times completely neglects her daughter right away, right? Her daughter comes to ask her to be excused, and she says, okay, fine, whatever, you know? And then she goes right back to talking to Tay about the funding. and she doesn't realize that one thing. I think they might bring this up, where Leda comes to Mothma and she's like, "Oh my God, are you drinking squigs?" And she's like, "Oh no, I've lost my taste for it." And she goes, "It's disgusting," which implies what? That she's tried drinking,
Oh, okay.
right?
I thought she was implying that like you drinking it is disgusting, but maybe.
Oh no. She says she says like they're disgusting or something like that. And Tay is like, "Oh, but that's the point." And she's like, "Okay, by the way, can I be excused?" And she goes and she just leaves. And Mothma immediately, because all her attention is towards the rebellion. So this goes back to what our kind of debate, where you're saying that she's using Perrin and her daughter.
Exactly.
But my thing is that that's her family, but she's so focused on the rebellion that she's actually inadvertently completely neglecting her daughter, and her daughter's turning out to be like a bratty rebel of her own.
Oh yeah, totally. That could also be the thing. Yeah, we were saying that maybe she's using them as a front just because we mentioned that they are not there when we see her later in A New Hope. But yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe she lost them because she lost the sight of what was important, actually. You know, it's kind of it goes a little bit back to with Luthen, who's slowly losing parts of himself, and throughout everybody is slowly losing parts of themselves. Where we're saying who is even the good guy, you know, because people are forgetting what is important in actual life because they're all thinking about the fight.
Right. And at the end of it, what really separates Luthen from someone like who's an Imperial, right? Because they're both using the same kind of tactics. They're both using the means, the ends justify the means morality.